Now what? What's going on with this BMW? I just repaired it. Check engine light on, drivetrain malfunction. What to do now? So, as you could hear, right? This is a problem that happens to all of you. Meanwhile, you're driving your car over the highway, suddenly something happens, check engine light comes on. A lot of smoke can be happening like this moment right now. You see this is smoke that is coming from this engine. N63 engines, you know, there are engines that can have a lot of problems, and probably you have one engines like this, an engine just like this one, and probably you are just cruising and suddenly this happened. You are so disappointed because you just repaired it. But today I want to try to help you by giving you some help by repairing this BMW right here. This BMW is hesitating in the way that it sounds like it's misfiring. Right now, I don't know what is the problem. So for that, what we're gonna do is go inside and hook the scan tool to see what are the cuts then we can pull related to the misfiring issue. So let's go inside the cab and get those cuts. What I do is to hook the computer to the scanner to see what cuts we are getting on this BMW. In this case, we're getting misfire, and that's the reason why the engine sounds so unstable. So we're gonna check for cuts related to misfire. So we go to cuts right here, and we have many different cuts, multiple cuts, too many different cuts. So what we're gonna do right now is to check the cuts related to the misfire. We can see we have cylinder number 8, cylinder number 7, cylinder number 4, cylinder number 3, cylinder number 1. We have 4 different misfires, and oh, we have cylinder number 5 as well here. So by having these many misfirings, that means then there is something that is more than just a spark plug that is bad. When this happens, when there is multiple misfires that is happening at the same time, this could be a problem with a vacuum leak. It's very possible there is a vacuum leak happening, and that is the reason why the engine is throwing many different cuts about misfiring. And the other cuts over here, we have multiple cuts, right? All the power management reduction or the activation is because we're having problems with the engine. We have the boost pressure control problem too, because the same thing, everything can be related to the same problem. So we have all that, see, pressure too low. Yeah, it's obvious because we have a leak. I can clearly see now that we're having a leak. The turbo is getting a leak somewhere. But if you have a turbo leak, that means then you have a vacuum leak as well. Or you're getting a vacuum leak in the intake manifold, because the intake manifold you have the throttle, and then when you rev the engine, you get a turbo leak as well. So it could be probably in the area of the intake manifold where we are getting that vacuum leak. So let's go inspect the engine and look for any broken hoses or something like that. That is the first thing you gotta check when you have a drivetrain malfunction problem. So by seeing the computer, I know that we're having problems on the cylinder number 5, 6, 7, 8. Those cylinders are located in this area of the engine. In the other area, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4. We are getting a leak as well over there, a problem, but it could be related to one side and the other side is getting affected because it's possible that it's getting some kind of an issue. Both of the banks are separated in BMWs in the way that we have the left bank and the right bank over there. So you have 2 turbos each for each side of the engine, but when you have a vacuum leak, sometimes can affect and the engine cannot work properly. So in this case, because we are getting the codes for, the misfire in the cylinder number 5, 6, 7, and 8, we want to focus on this side because the problem could be on this side. A very common problem on BMW's N63 engine is a vacuum leak. And vacuum leak can be caused because of the hose that is broken, a broken vacuum hose, or the intake manifold gasket can be bad, or the intake manifold can be cracked. But it's very important that before you do anything, before you even take anything apart inside the engine or anything, you inspect the first thing that are the PCV valves. Why you gotta inspect the PCV valves? Because the PCV valves are made of a very, I don't know if it's cheap or very unresistant plastic. I don't know how I wanna call that. But anyway, it is made of a plastic that breaks pretty easy. And a PCV valve can cause many problems. Many problems. And that's a simple piece that can cause many problems with the engine. But usually you won't pay attention to that because you will think then the spark plugs or something like that is something major is the problem. So in this case, we have the two PCV valves. We have on this side, this PCV valve over here. And by seeing this PCV valve, I can see that someone already worked on this one. See, they already replaced the PCV valve with a hose, actual hose, which I think then, it could be a great idea, or it can be someone someone that didn't want to spend money. I don't think that this could be right because you can get a leak in this area, but it doesn't seem that it's broken. It is all together, and usually the leak is gonna be on this area over here or this area over here. In this case, you see all the clips are broken over here, so definitely this PCV valve has to be replaced in this side, in the passenger side of the engine. But let's check the driver side of the engine, the PCV valve, because you have two sides and you have two PCV valves. This PCV valve looks alright. You can see the piping looks fine all the way. It doesn't look like it has any problems at all. But after paying closer attention, I noticed, then you see this over here? This part of the PCV valve is completely disconnected. You can see right there, see that pipe is completely disconnected, and we have the pipe underneath here. That is the other pipe over there. I don't know if you are able to see it. Completely disconnected. So that, I'm pretty sure that is the reason why this engine is misfiring. For sure, this pipe over here, see, completely disconnected, right? So we're getting oil over here. At the beginning you saw then there was a lot of smoke coming from the engine, and it can be caused for this thing too because there is pressure from the engine and it's coming out. And if there is a leak from this side of the engine, because this one is completely disconnected, this part comes from the engine, and if you have a big leak over here, that means then the whole engine is getting a vacuum leak. So that means then the other side, the other PCV valve is sucking air too, because the air then is getting from this side, it goes back all the way over there in between the engine, inside the engine, internally, because the PCV valve, PCV system is a system that connects the engine internally to recycle the gases, the internal gases of the engine. So to test this problem, what we want to do right now is just to connect this hose back over here and see what result we get. It's kind of hard right now, so. All right, so the pipe is already all the way in, but you can see then the clips then hold the pipe together with the other part are completely broken. So that means that that's the reason why this pipe came off completely from the PCV valve. Definitely the pipe and the PCV valve, they need to be replaced, both of them, and the other PCV valve as well over there. That one has to be replaced because it's all in a not good condition, and the clips are broken over here. So it can cause similar problem over there. All right, so let's give it a try. Let's start the engine and see what is the result after putting all this together. So the engine sounds completely different now. The misfire went away. You can clearly hear it. That's good. That means that the whole cause of that misfire and the whole problem that was going on with this engine was this little valve over here. We definitely need to replace this and that. I have a video on how to replace those if you want to check that one out. It's not a very hard task, but in the case of this hose over here, this one, that one is a little harder to replace because it goes all the way down over there. You see, it goes all the way down over there. You can see it right there. So it goes right to the intake manifold, and that is going to be hard to replace because the to get to that hose clips on the bottom is going to be hard. But other than that, that is the whole solution to this problem. It's pretty easy, right? So that's the reason why whenever you have problems like this, the first thing you gotta do is to inspect for vacuum leaks. If there is no vacuum leaks, that means then you are getting something else, probably like a spark plug problems, injection problem or something like that, or some kind of carbon build in the intake area, intake valves area. So you have to inspect things by things. That way you can notice where the problem is coming from. In this case, this problem was an easy fix. If we want to leave it like this, we can leave it like that. We just can leave it like that and that's it. The problem will be fixed. But the problem is then when we are driving the car, when we are getting power, we build pressure. The turbo builds pressure over here. So when you get pressure over here, the pressure goes all the way to the intake manifold and eventually comes over here too to the same hose because of the intake manifold is connected to that hose. So when you get enough pressure, that hose is going to pop again and then the problem is going to come back. So it is just better to replace it, the hose completely, to prevent problems. But if you don't have the budget to replace it, that will be the solution. You can just grab something like a zip tie or something to tighten it so that way it doesn't come out. But it is just better to replace it. That will be my recommendation to you to fix this problem. I guess right now we have different cuts. So what we're gonna do right now is to delete all the cuts. So we have all the cuts right here, right? All these cuts. So we have to delete them to make the engine computer learn everything. So if there is any code that is active, constantly active, we're gonna get it right now. But that means then everything is alright. That will be to complete all the monitors that are going to inspect the engine conditions and are going to tell how good the engine is running and if it's ready for emission test. In this case, as I say, the solution was clearly the hose, nothing else to replace at this moment except for everything, but that will depend up to the owner of the car to see if he is okay by replacing all the parts that are needed to replace to fix the problem completely. But up to right now, this is all we have for you. This was just another video to add to the drivetrain malfunction problems that can happen to you on your BMW, to help you to diagnose the problem, so that way you can save some money, because you know this is super expensive to fix. And if you go to a shop, they're gonna charge you at least $500 to repair a problem like this. And sometimes it's something that you can visually see, but because you don't have the experience, you cannot do it. By doing these videos, I actually giving you some of my experience, so that way you can actually get your hands on it, and you can save that extra money. Then could be helpful for you in many different things. That way you can keep your BMW running and away from that problem that everybody hates, then is the drivetrain malfunction. So up to right now, this is all. You like the video, make sure to like the video. That way we can feel confident that whatever we're doing it fine. And we try to do our best to give you the best content. We're gonna try to do more videos about the N63 engine, and that way you can feel confident that we are trying to help you to keep your BMW 550, 650, or 750 or X5 running with no problems. Subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.